Good evening. It is January the 12th, 2017. Welcome to the third and hopefully the final update for this upcoming possible icing event going into tomorrow. Right now, it's looking mostly rain for most of the purchase area of western Kentucky, but there are some exceptions the further north you work into parts of Ballard, Carlisle, McCracken, and even northern parts of Marshall County. So we're going to watch that freezing line very closely. Right now, we are watching this area of blue and yellow, how much of that diversion, that is the temperatures, that is a cold front that is moving through our region. Eventually, it will become a stationary front. It was moving very, very fast today. Temperatures have already dropped into the mid 40s at my house. It is 46.2 degrees right now and dropping. Those temperatures will continue to drop area wide until we get into around 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. They will level off and hopefully they will be above freezing, but some areas might be at or below freezing and could be looking at a couple of issues. Although I think the impacts will be small with this event, I think that there could be a few exceptions on some bridges and overpasses on tomorrow if you see any icing in your neck of the woods. Notice how we have the freezing line up close to Sparta, Farmington, that would be Sparta, Illinois, Farmington, Missouri, already being reported down to 30 degrees. Now, where you see this blue changing over to that light shade of pink or red, that is starting to shift towards the south and east ever so slightly, about a county every 30 minutes or so. And eventually, it will be getting into our neck of the woods, but the question is, how far south does that 32-degree line get? Depends on what kind of precipitation you have, and it is going to be all the world's difference tomorrow on what your weather is and what you can expect for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and look at two models in, let's see, I'm going to adjust the map just really quickly here, so just bear with me. I'm going to try to adjust this map to where we can get it to where, well, I guess I can't adjust it anymore after I've started recording. So we'll just leave it right here, but at least you can get the map in there. This is the this is actually the HER model. So this is the most high resolution model that we have available right now. This only goes out to 18 hours, so this does not cover all of tomorrow. This only goes out to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, but I think that'll be about the time that we get our coldest, and so we're going to see what the HER model is thinking for tomorrow's weather. Notice that sharp line of precipitation. That is the cold front. Now, we are already past this time frame. This would be at 4 p.m. this afternoon, so we've already been past this time frame. This model still has to update itself several more times. It updates itself every hour, and so several more updates with this model before we get into the potential time frame tomorrow to watch for any freezing rain to be falling out of the sky. This is going to be at midnight tonight. Notice how we have some rain showers. That pink would be some freezing rain developing over some, Arkansas, parts of Missouri. Now these will be moving northeast, and we will be watching that 32-degree line to see wherever that rain, which would be green on this map, changes over to the pink, which would be freezing rain. Now the HER model is not showing widespread precipitation tomorrow morning, but it starts to increase precipitation as we go into 6 a.m., which would be about the time that I think temperatures will be coldest in the morning. I think the HER model, which is actually one of the few models that has the 32-degree line in these parts right here, and I'll show you a blend of models that I actually put together on a map earlier this afternoon. I took a map and put a line to show where each model was showing how far south the 32-degree line would get, and there is still plenty of disagreement in the models considering that this system has now made it onto American soil, so we should be getting some better agreement, and I think we have had some better agreement. We've seen a couple of models that were going either too far north or too far south, trying to hone in on a certain location, and we have also seen some models such as the HER model, which is the most short-range model, so it has the best chance of being accurate or being correct. It has the highest accuracy rate out of any of these models, so it has the better potential of being correct, but I do disagree with the HER model. I think the 32-degree line makes it a little bit further south than the HER model is thinking, so this is as far out as this map goes, but I think the HER model this is as far south as it thinks the 32-degree line will get, which would be along a line from, say, just north of Vienna, Illinois, and then back over towards Cape Girardeau, and then towards the Poplar Bluff area, no precipitation spreading into southwest Indiana at this time. I would show you the 32 degree, at least the temperature map, but I think I'm going to show you that right now with the 3 km model, which I think has a better idea out of any of the models on tomorrow's forecast. Here is the NAM 3 km model. It also has that band of rain with the showers and thunderstorms, a little bit more bullish on rain for this afternoon, early this evening. Bullish meaning that it's a little bit more aggressive with the rain showers this afternoon. So I don't think that we're going to be seeing all of this at 3 a.m. in the morning tomorrow morning. I think that we'll see some spotty showers on radar. We already are seeing some. But I do think that it does have a good idea, and it does have agreement with the other models that we do see some resurge of moisture coming into the area. This purple over here is sleet, this pink is freezing rain, and right here, this green is rain. I'll show you what the temperature map looks like in a minute. It's hard to tell where the 32-degree line is when you're looking at this, especially because we don't have widespread precipitation. But notice how it has that freezing rain dropping all the way down to around Mayfield, Kentucky, all the way over towards our northwest counties in western Kentucky and southeast Missouri, southern Illinois. So this is the most south model when it comes to the 32-degree line. This model takes it the furthest south out of all the other models. Now, I don't think it's going to get as far south as this model is thinking, but I do agree with the idea that it is going to be a little bit further south than what the Herb model is thinking. There's big differences between these two. These two are the most high-resolution models that we have available right now, and one of them is all the way up about 3 or 4 counties north of here with a 32-degree line, while the other one, which is this one, is about 3 to 4 counties south of what the Herb model is thinking. So some big disagreement, and when you're talking about ice, 32-degree line is always the key feature, and if we don't have model agreement, then it's very difficult to make a forecast on this event. Now, temperatures do begin to warm going into Friday, which I will talk to you more about here in just a second, and any rain or freezing rain that we would have in the morning would eventually change over to all rain. Eventually, we will see any precipitation moving out of the area by tomorrow afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. I think a lot of our precipitation, whether it's frozen or not, will be moving out of the area, and we will be left with some pretty chilly temperatures. Not near as windy as it's been the last couple of days, so that's some good news, but a slight breeze out of the north cannot be ruled out. I want to show you the 32-degree line, so this would be the temperature map that I wanted to show you real quick, and this is that cold front moving through earlier this afternoon. The blue line right here, the very leading edge of it, that is your 32-degree line. And I'm mentioning 32-degree line, I'm mentioning that phrase so much because that is so important to the forecast going into the next 24 hours. Notice how the 3 km model brings the 32-degree line. This is as far south as it brings it, and it has it covering all of the northwest counties in western Kentucky and about half to the northern third of the purchase area of western Kentucky, while most of the other models are keeping it along the Ohio River counties and northward. This one is taking it about a county south of the Ohio River counties. So that is something to watch. A lot of times cold air goes a little bit further south than what the models are anticipating because cold air is very dense and heavy, and the models don't see it that well when we're talking about events like these, especially with icing events. So the cold air does have potential, if we're talking historically with past events, to go a little bit further south than what the models are anticipating. That doesn't mean that it's going to do that, but it does mean that there is potential if we're looking back at analogs of other storm systems that are similar to this one. It also has the idea that temperatures warm, but it also keeps a little stripe of below freezing temperatures across this area right here, and it keeps wanting to put a nose of warm air stretching all the way from southern Indiana into central and southern Illinois on over towards St. Louis, while it keeps an area just south of there below freezing. That is something to watch because that means that we could have some pockets of areas tomorrow that stay below freezing, at least in southern Illinois and southeast Missouri, while areas northeast and south of there are still are actually above freezing. So that is making the forecast even more difficult. So unfortunately, that is going to probably be the situation tomorrow. And then we see a little bit of a warm-up going into Saturday morning. And then temperatures on Saturday really won't be getting all that high before we see temperatures falling once again on Saturday night into Sunday morning. But I don't think they will be falling enough to change any freezing or change any rain over to freezing rain. Here is the map that I put together this afternoon, and I wanted to show you guys that map right now. This is what the models are. I drew a line. I'm not labeling each model because that doesn't matter right now. It just gives you an idea of which of all the models in their idea. But I want you to notice, and you can't really see this when you're just looking at one model and then you move on to the next. I've never done this before, and it's pretty neat now that I have done this to actually see where all the models are honing in on. Each line represents one model, and that line also represents how far south that particular model believes the 32-degree line will come. And you notice how we have a little bit of an agreement in a lot of the models that the 32-degree line comes around the McCracken County, Graves County border on over towards Ballard, Carlisle, and that's about as far south as it gets, while areas just to the north of there are also below freezing. But you notice we have two models right here, the GFS model, and I can't remember what the other model was. I know one of them was the GFS. It was the GFS and the HER model. Both of those models are an outlier right now, and you wouldn't have realized that until you drew these lines, and both of those are further north than the other models are. And so that is at least some confidence raising right there, is that we do see some agreement in the models right now that there is going to be the potential that the 32-degree line does reach these areas right here, but it's still questionable that it doesn't. Here's my forecast right now. Right now, I think the temperatures will be coldest 2 a.m. tomorrow morning through 11 a.m. On Friday morning. Morning lows on Friday will range from about 31 degrees, I think, in the northern portions of the purchase area. This will be Ballard, McCracken County, southern parts of Livingston County, to about 39 degrees in the southern part of the purchase area. This will be South Graves, Callaway, Hickman, Fulton, southern parts of Marshall County. Temperatures will warm into the mid to upper 30s by Friday afternoon, so if we do have freezing rain in the morning, it would change over to rain before the precipitation moves out. Overcast skies tomorrow will help keep temperatures in the 30s most of the day. Rain and freezing rain will overspread all of western Kentucky by daybreak tomorrow on Friday morning, and that rain and freezing rain will move out by late morning, early afternoon, as previous mentioned, on Friday. Now, the totals, if freezing rain occurs, if is the main word right now, because if we don't see any freezing rain occur, then we don't have to worry about anything. But if we do see some freezing rain occur, then totals would be less than 1/10 of an inch. If most of us will be experiencing rain showers tomorrow, those rainfall totals will be less than a 1/2 inch on Friday. Impacts are not going to be all that great. Road surfaces are warm. Remember, we were in the 70s earlier this afternoon. So little road impacts are expected where and if that freezing rain occurs. Now, bridges and overpasses are always the first to ice over in events like these, so they do have the potential to ice over, but I'm only giving them about a 40% chance because they also have been storing up some heat from those temperatures that soared into the 60s and 70s today. If freezing rain does occur, then a light coating on trees, power lines, etc. are anticipated, but roads are expected to be free of ice tomorrow if it forms. Very little impact expected if that freezing rain does develop on Friday. A lot of questions still remain with this system. We just have to sit back, relax, and wait and see how it goes. I've done my part of forecasting. Now we just have to wait and see how this event plays out. Hopefully, we won't have too many impacts going into tomorrow. Have a great night.